when I hit college, in my second year of college, it made me realize like, wow, my eyes opened up. Like Heritage really did help me quite a bit, not just the basics. It's helped me out to be able to communicate with my team members, take leadership on different types of projects in college, and even just sit back on the back burner and just be one of the workers, not taking the lead on those projects.
In 2013, Matt Diotte graduated from Heritage Academy in Ottawa. His parents chose the school for its special curriculum and staff to educate students with learning disabilities. When Matt connected for this interview, he billed himself as Mr. Awesome, and no wonder. It soon became apparent that the education he received helped him to deal with his dyslexia, tapping into his outstanding abilities and shape him into a bright, clever, and grateful person. Matt enjoyed his time there, 10 years at this exceptional school for children with special needs, Heritage Academy. A summary of what you've been up to since you graduated from Heritage Academy, like where you went to post-secondary school and where you attended that, what you studied, and what you're doing now.
Absolutely. So once I graduated Heritage Academy after 10 beautiful years there, I have to say, I moved into Algonquin College. I was there for about 4 years. I graduated in the program of Recreation and Leisure Services. I took the same program with my sister, actually, so we graduated together. And then from there, I got a job within the city that summer. I started working with the city in social services, right downtown at 370 Catherine Street. And I was there for 2 years, working full-time as an administration clerk, and have moved from that position over to a 311 call agent at the call center with the City of Ottawa. So I've been working there again for 2 years over there, answering the phones Monday to Friday. I enjoy that job quite a bit. So I hope to continue that job and continue with my stay at 311.
So, do you think that Heritage Academy influenced your choice of university or college and area of study?
Absolutely. Heritage has helped me learn what are my strong suits and what I need to work on specifically. And when they were talking about Algonquin College, about all the accessibility they have at that secondary college, post-secondary college, it opened my eyes, and I was very confident of going to Algonquin College because of the opportunities and the tools they gave me for me to succeed at Algonquin as they did at Heritage Academy.
Excellent. Do you mind me asking what challenges you may have had?
So what I specialize in, what my disability is, I should say, is dyslexia. So I have trouble reading and writing. So the letters tend to move around. Even to this day, I have trouble even spelling in my emails, going to my bosses and everything. But they all understand where I'm coming from. With what happened with Algonquin is that they were able to give me double time of all my tests, which was very nice, as I didn't get that pressure of having to get my information all on the page. Spelling was disregarded with me, which was nice. Spelling and grammar, as I always tend to miss my punctuations, and sometimes I forget to add a couple letters at the end of words. Especially the word of. I spell that one OVE all the time. I haven't learned that one yet.
There's a lot of and love.
Yes, exactly. I really want other people to see that even though you have a disability, it's not a disability. It's more figuring out how to make that your ability and figuring out how to work around that. I found out that numbers and numbers is my game, but language is not. So I worked around how to deal with numbers. I really enjoyed the number games, mathematics. But language is not my strong suit, but I always tend to have ways around it. I have documents that read to me. I have documents that I can speak into the computer that writes into the computer. So it's not like I don't have the tools to be able to be at the same level as everybody else.
I'm going to ask you to do a little work here. If you were to write a resume, Matt, listing your experiences and accomplishments and interests while you're at Heritage Academy, what do you think it would say? And would you include extracurricular activities and the subjects you preferred and excelled at?
Okay, perfect. So I have to say on my resume sheet, I would put one of the top things that really brought out my leadership role. I believe I took the leadership role quite well through my physical fitness classes and my class sizes, as they were so small because we only have about 10 children, 10 people per class. per teacher. So when group work would come around, you would be stuck with the same couple people, same 3, 4 people. And trying to pass that leadership half off to the next person is a little challenging sometimes, but it was nice that I was always able to have an idea of what direction to go in.
Hmm.
So I find my leadership skills really came through at Heritage Academy. Our extracurricular activities when I was there was not quite large, just due to the fact that we just don't have enough people. Having 100 kids between grade 1 to grade 12 makes it very challenging even for gym class to even have a basketball game. You're inviting the grade 11s and grade 12s to go play that game instead of just the grade 12s themselves. Um, and so I think I answered 2 of them on there, right? What was the
Yeah.
third thing,
The
sorry?
subjects you preferred and excelled at.
The subjects I preferred and excelled at was the mathematical courses. So physics, math, calculus. For some reason, those courses there really stuck with me, as in there was only about 10 digits, 0 to 9. Everything else doubles, triples, and quadruples up. Like the English language, there's 26 different letters, and they make a God knows how many words in the English language. And that's not just English. Je parle français aussi. Je sais les deux langues. And I learned that at Heritage Academy also. So I was going through 2 languages, French and English, learning them at the same time, but the numbers always stay the same and no matter what language. So I find that was my stronger suits, was the mathematical classes.
Matt, can you just think back for a moment to your proudest memory while you're at Heritage Academy?
Was graduating. I have to say it was the moment of me walking across stage and grabbing my diploma, as me being there for 10 years, starting in the beginning of 2003 and graduating in 2013. To me, that was a huge accomplishment in my own eyes, as in I didn't think I was going to make it, as the type of challenges I had in front of me and that I had to overcome.
I think the people, judging from what you've told us so far, the people that were teaching you and caring for you there, they knew you were going to make it.
Yes, well, thank goodness for them, because they were there throughout the whole seams, and all it's not just one teacher that was had your back, it was everybody. All the teachers was working as a team to make sure everybody was on the right path. It wasn't like, oh, one teacher took you under the wing at Heritage. It was all your teachers took you under the wing, making sure you understand all the material that's coming your way instead of just flipping through the binder, which was really nice that I understood the basics of before I went to college or university. Just getting that basic knowledge and understanding it, I was very happy with that.
Think back to when you and your family were choosing a school to go to, Matt. How and why did you choose Heritage Academy?
Oh, well, when I was when I was going through school at the beginning, through middle school and beginning of primary school, my parents actually had no idea what was wrong with me at the time, because they had to get me tested. Once they got me tested and found out that I was dyslexic, then it was the challenge of finding the school that best helps with people with dyslexia. Back in beginning of 2000, it was very harder to find this information because the advertisement wasn't there for all those private schools out there. So I ended up going to see a counselor for a little bit, because I had troubles expressing myself due to my disability, because I didn't know how to, because I couldn't read, I couldn't write. So it's very hard for me to find the words to use. But when I was seeing this counselor, she recommended Heritage Academy. And at that point, my parents took a look into that. And my parents literally in a couple months put me at that school because they knew that was what I needed.
If you had to pick one thing, Matt, what did you appreciate most about attending Heritage Academy?
The class sizes, the one-on-one between the teachers and the students really helped the grasp of the material. So I have to say that's my number one thing, is that the class sizes were 1 to 10. Any more than 10 children at the time, they would add another teacher in, which I thought it was great. Like the goofing off in the class and like all that stuff doesn't really happen when you have 10 kids per one teacher, because you're more or less the teacher's watching every movement you're doing and making sure you're on task, which helps with if you have kind of like ADD, you're always like squirrel out the window or something. It's nice that the teacher's like, come on, make sure you're doing your work, make sure you're doing your work, so you're able to complete the work at hand. And I believe that was very thing that I held closely, and I want to put my kids at Heritage Academy just because of the class sizes and how they were one-on-one with the students.
Hey, Matt, let's step back for a second here and try and see Heritage Academy as objectively as possible. And to the best of your knowledge, what in your mind most differentiates Heritage Academy from other schools family may choose instead?
Um, because it starts at grade 1 and it finishes at grade 12. Your whole school year, all your grades is in 1 year. Therefore, you get to know the teachers throughout your time being there. You get to know the principal as your time being there. It's not like you're there for 3 years and you move on to the next school, or into primary school, to middle school, to high school. Everything's at one spot, and you get to see the teachers throughout the years, which is you build that relationship, that 10-year relationship I've had with my teachers that were there at Heritage Academy. Even the principal, Cheryl Ward, I have that relationship with her for over 10 years now. So I believe that makes the difference between Heritage and other schools, is that it has 12 years of education.
Excellent. You still in touch with any of the teachers, by the way?
I am in touch with a couple, but not as much as I would like to be.
Okay. Okay, Matt, we can have some fun with this next one. If Heritage Academy was to become personified, that is, if it was going to be a living, breathing person, can you describe his personality in 3 words as someone we'd want to get to know?
Absolutely. I believe if Heritage Academy was persona as a person, I believe Heritage would be caring, thoughtful, and someone that you can go to and speak to regarding your situation that you might have. As in, like, not a father or mother figure, but somebody that you can go to speak to your problems with, and they would help you, guide you through a solution. They wouldn't give you a solution, but guide you through that solution.
Those are 3 great traits. Someone reliable, caring, as you alluded to earlier on in the class size and the teachers caring that way, and also thoughtful. I think that empathy goes a long way these days.
Yes.
Now, what would you say are Heritage Academy's highest values in actual practice?
Oh man.
Take your time.
That is a very good question. I feel I don't want to answer this question wrong now. Uh,
There's no
uh,
wrong answers.
Integrity. I believe Heritage holds integrity at the top of his caliber. I do believe education is they held very highly also, as they want to make sure you understand the material, and they're not just going to send you home with homework that you just don't know and you're supposed to learn it on your own. That piece, they will teach you it before class and making sure you understand it for you can then tackle it at home. So I believe education is a huge portion, and being able to communicate. I would have to say communication is huge, as not just for communicating just with the teachers with your questions and answers. I mean communication as in, like, how can I communicate better as a what words can I find to use properly to best describe what I'm trying to say? That communication, as in Heritage Academy has a program called SMT, which also helps people learn how to read and write, and that's one of the main, I believe, one of the main programs they have that is not part of the school curriculum, but Heritage has add that on. One for the English version, SMT, and EMS, which is the French version of the learning of reading and writing.
I think it's surprising how many people can't read.
Yes, absolutely. And with Heritage, they teach you the basics to get you to where you need to be, which is nice because I needed that program. I not just take it in English, I took it also in French. I took both programs, which was I believe, helped me out quite a bit. Integrity, communication, and connections between you and the teachers.
What do you think students and families, Matt, would find surprising about Heritage Academy, and something that maybe surprised you when you were there?
The extra program they had, the SMT and the MS program. It is a program that is specialized to Heritage Academy, which helps them with the learning in reading in cursive writing of the English language and the French language. So I believe that caught me off guard when I first went there, and my parents, as this is a different program that's not as everybody knows as this school curriculum. This is an extra thing that you would take before you actually start your school day or even after your school day.
Now, Matt, describe for me a typical student at Heritage Academy, and describe how you remember students relating to one another.
To me, when I was at Heritage, it was nerve-wracking. Always walking in, not knowing what's going to be on the board the next day. What am I going to be learning? But it's nice that to have your fellow students there, as as I went to school with one student for 9 years. We had the same class for we were in the same class for 9 years. We built a relationship, not just a friend relationship. After 9 years of knowing somebody and being able to go to class, joking around, it becomes more of a family situation than a classmate or a friend in that way. Um, yes.
And how did other students relate to one another, to you or for your other friends, for example?
It was a little different as we all came from different parts of the city, as it was not just everybody coming from Canada. It was Canada, Orleans, Gatineau, Barhaven, North Gore. People were traveling quite a distance to get to one area, but we all knew we were there for the same reason, which helped us bring us closer together. And we all knew we had some type of help that we needed, some type of ability that we needed to master instead of trying to find ways to get around it, if that made sense.
Sure. And let's remind our viewers that Heritage Academy is in Ottawa.
Yes, it is in Ottawa, off of Bayswater over by Carling, which is center town compared to Barhaven, Canada, Orleans, Cumberland. That's center town, and people are traveling an hour one way just to get to school. Um,
Wow.
and there's no yellow school bus that takes you there, as there's only 100 kids from grade 1 to grade 12. So there's that lovely OC Transpo system, and the car rides and the carpooling to school.
We're going to get personal here for just a moment. Matt, do you think your experience at Heritage Academy has shaped who you are today as a person, and in what way?
Absolutely.
In what
I,
way?
Absolutely. I do believe Heritage has molded me for the person who I am today. In what way? I'm able to express myself. I'm able to be able to get my idea across the page. On paper, it's okay, but now being able to speak, being able to express myself has come a huge way, and being able to use the proper literature words, and especially not just doing it in one language. Faire ça en français aussi, ça me donne les deux meilleurs dans les deux vies. Both worlds is, which is crazy. With the City of Ottawa employee being able to give services in not just one language, in two languages, I believe has helped me quite a bit.
Reflecting back on your experience at Heritage Academy, Matt, if you had to pick something to change about the school, what do you think it would be, and what would have helped you if it were different at the time you were at the school?
One thing I would say would change in the school, which is kind of hard in its own, is to do extracurricular activities. As in, I know we talked about that, but I mean like going to play baseball against another school, or basketball or soccer, some type of sports to bring the school together and to represent ourselves at other schools. However, me saying that, it comes with a catch-22, as in we only have 100 kids from grade 1 to grade 12, which really makes our high school from grade 9 to grade 12 just under 40 people. That's a football team right there. So it's very hard for us to be able to pull that one off that I would really like, but we can barely make a football team from grade 9s to grade 12s. And that's one thing I would like to change, but I know it's going to be quite hard with 100 kids to grade 1 to grade 12, as when I was there when I was there back 10 years ago, back in 2013.
Now, you mentioned, Matt, that you graduated in 2013. How's your perspective on the school and your experience there evolved over time, especially since it's been a while since you've been there?
Um, it's been when I first was at Heritage, it's kind of like, oh, I want to be done with school, I'm finished with this. But when I hit college, in my second year of college, it made me realize, like, wow, my eyes opened up. Like, Heritage really did help me quite a bit, not just the basics. It's helped me out to be able to communicate with my team members, take leadership on different types of projects in college, and even just sit back on the back burner and just be one of the workers, not taking the lead on those projects. Um, Heritage has done a lot for me, and I hold it to my highest caliber. Like, I do believe when I have children, I hope that Cheryl and Heritage Academy will have a spot for my children to go there also.
Wow, that's great. You speak of them in such endearing terms. To me, it sounds like you just graduated a couple of years ago. Okay. We're getting close to the end here. Just a few more questions. Uh, Two-part question here, Matt. Would you recommend that other students enroll at Heritage Academy?
I do. I do recommend other students registering for Heritage Academy. However, I don't expect everybody to, just because Heritage is specializes in for people that have learning disabilities. Um, if you don't have that learning disability, it might be a little, it might not be challenging enough to school, as it's a little bit more direct one-on-one, making sure you understand all the community, all the points of this of the homework or the classes in class, the teachings in class. However, if you don't have that learning disability, you might find it not challenging enough for you.
Okay, maybe not for some people, but can you give me three reasons why someone who does have that challenges should choose Heritage Academy?
Let's say if you have hard time focusing in class, Heritage would be a great spot for you to go to, as they have things that are tactile, which help you learn physically, not just visually with the board and someone talking to you the whole day, which is really nice. So they give you something to fidget while you're learning as you go through the system. Also, people that have trouble reading and writing, like myself, that helped me quite a bit because I had trouble reading my books in English class. So the teacher would sit there and read the books for us, which was very helpful. We still got to do our book reports and everything, but however, the teachers would give you the audio books for you can do your book report at home, listening to it instead of having to read a book because they understand. People that have trouble, guess communicating with other students. That time sometimes that is a struggle if you don't know how to body language. You don't know how to present yourself in body language, how to speak with your face instead of just your words. Um, that did help quite a bit. If you go to Heritage, they help you teach you to how to pronounce it, to use those extra words that you're missing, to able to read expressions on somebody's face, to able to understand the quote unquote the basics of visually seeing somebody and how and reading their reactions, their emotions. I believe Heritage did help with that, as this school was very small and they were able to focus and help people uh, with their challenges.
That was a great answer, Matt. Is there anything you would say to a family considering sending their child to Heritage Academy other than what you've mentioned there?
Don't think twice. If you think it's right for your child, why is there a second thought? It's go for it.
Now, what about a family that's touring the school itself? Is there anything you draw their attention to above all else?
I would draw their attention to the class sizes and how engaged the students are with the teacher. As the teacher keeps everybody engaged because there's only 10 per class. There's not 30. So you're not having a couple wanderers off in the back of the class, as you might have that child in the back of the class that's doing that wandering. At Heritage, they're keeping them engaged, if that's with tactile objects, speaking, or having some type of activity going as games with aims.
It sounds like a fascinating place. Now, I'm going to put you in the spotlight here. Imagine you're going to be talking to a student who's just about to enter Heritage Academy. They're going to start going to school in a few days. What's the one piece of advice you would give them?
One piece of advice I would give them is don't be shy to say hello to your teacher. A lot of people are afraid to walk up to your teacher and introduce yourselves. Your teachers are there for support, not just for that one class, for all your classes, for at-home problems, for if you have problems, if you have a question regarding how to deal with a situation. They're there to help you and guide you as your mentors. They're not just there to teach you. So I do believe introducing yourself to the teacher is the first thing you should do and not be afraid to do so.